I'm Frank in the chat, and I have a trading problem.
I'm Nate Polvo. I have a massive trading problem.
I'm Cam White, and I've got a rookie problem.
I'm Mike Fidella, and I have a trading problem.
I'm Lou Brunson, and I don't get enough trading problems.
That's fair. We're going to be there for that. What's up, everybody? Welcome to session 425 live. I did that just for the rhyme. And yeah, I already forgot the intro. Wow. Even though the network went away, the DAP is always here to stay. Drop a DAP. There we go. 5 DAPs on the screen. Come on. Yeah, there we go. And as you can see, we are live. I've already forgotten the intro. I'll edit that part out, but that's live. I don't care. And as you can see, we have the entire Optimus Dynasty crew here. No Rocky, but we have a 5-man show. We're going to just be guys talking ball today, and I'm excited about that. So let's go around the horn. Usually I ask who you are, what you do, and where they can find what you do. Everyone knows you work for Optimus. So let's say who you are, drop your socials, and what you're working on at Optimus right now. Nate, you can start. Nate is muted.
Nate, you're muted, always.
I know it's a habit. It's bad. Hi, I'm Nate Polvo. My glasses are fogging up because our basement apparently is very humid. You can find me at natepolvo.bsky.social on Blue Sky, and I do a lot of things. I don't know where to start, so we're just going to move on from there.
Perfect.
I'm Cam White over at Optimus. I've been writing up 32 straight days of off-season recaps for Optimus, starting with the Arizona Cardinals and wrapping up tomorrow with the Los Angeles Rams. You can also find some of my rookie content. Nate and I were at the Senior Bowl this year. I've watched about 110 of these rookies, so stay tuned. We've got a QB article that dropped live on the site today that we'll be getting on our socials later if you want to go learn about the rookie QB class.
I am Mike Vidala. Cam is my best friend. And I am working on currently my Dynasty and Redraft rankings. I'm going to have notes on about 300 players in total, separate notes for Dynasty and for Redraft. So you can check out the Dynasty positional rankings. They're live right now. I'm going to go back and tweak the overall, so don't take the overall too seriously when you look at that. But all my positional rankings ready to go for Dynasty, and Redraft should be out soon. So very excited about that. I don't think I can shut up about that right now.
Hi, I'm Lou Brunson. As you can see, you can find me at BrewPython27, almost anywhere. But I hang out on Blue Sky a lot, as anybody who's on Blue Sky knows. What do I do at Optimus? It's a little bit of what don't I do, but I'm probably most well known for being our projections person. I created not just our projections, but an entirely new valuation system specifically for Dynasty. Projection value and Dynasty rating, because there is nothing worse than having one number to try and figure out what that means for your team. If you're contending, it means one thing. If you're rebuilding, it doesn't necessarily mean the same thing, but you're supposed to get all that information out of one number. And so I took them apart and brought them to the Dynasty community.
Excellent. And as you can see, the chat's starting to fill up. Haywood Almanac, aka the Pick Is In podcast, is joining us. We'll have a couple others joining in as we go. So normally for first-time guests, we have a big interview, like how long you've been playing fantasy, all that stuff. If we did that for all 4 of you, we'd be here till tomorrow. So we're going to do just the one question. Nate, I'll start with you. What's a guiding principle you have in trading?
So I think a lot of people try and win trades. I think it should just be a fair trade. And it doesn't necessarily have to look fair to everybody, but if it serves the purpose of both teams, I think that's what I always try and go for. You don't want to piss other managers off in your league, because then they won't trade with you. If you're always trying to get the best deal, you're always sending these awful, horrible trades, people will stop. They'll stop doing business with you, essentially. It puts you dead in the water in a league. So make it fair, make it even, try making good trades, and make good offers the first time around. Like, don't try and screw people, because it just pisses your league off.
Cam?
Yeah, Mike. Yeah, for me, it's shop around. And this is something that is a guiding principle for me, and I preach it in all the leagues that I'm commissioner of. There's nothing worse than accepting the lowest offer because it was the only offer in your inbox. So if you get a trade, or if you're sending out trades, make sure you're shopping around, see if you can get the most value for the guys that you're about to get off your team.
Mike?
For me, it's kind of a guiding principle in life and in fantasy football, but kind of like be like water. So like you don't always, it's always different, always changing, and always going with kind of like the easiest path. So like sometimes I do send out like some bad trades, especially if I feel like I'm in a league where I'm more on top of news or more on top of the player takes than my league mates. I'm going to send some stuff out because that's a great way to get an edge. You can really get people to bite on trades that way. I've done in the past, and like, you know, we're here to win money, and it's not being disrespectful, so to speak. Like, you're trying to gain an edge. And if somebody gets back to me and they like, you know, they're like, yo, dude, I know what I'm doing here, then respect, and then I'll work from there. You know what I mean? I think that, so I will shoot out a bad trade, but I'll also shoot out like what is thought to be a losing trade sometimes. So like kind of my namesake article at Optimus is that I traded Caleb Williams for Josh Allen straight up in a dynasty league.
Wow.
I ended up winning that league too. But so yeah, just be like water, be kind of open to anything, and just kind of treat every situation for what it is.
Lou?
It's good to lose trades. It's kind of going on what Nate said. Not only are people going to want to keep dealing with you, but it makes you fun to deal with. Like having people not know that you have this edge all the time, that you're always out for, you know, just for yourself, everything like that. It's good for the health of the league. It keeps your league mates involved and, you know, everything like that. And it's just, losing trades is a good thing. That doesn't mean you lose all of them, but I feel like the dynasty community in general gets a little too obsessed with, I have to win every trade, I have to get excess value, and you don't always make bad trades. It's fun.
Yeah, no, that's good. Mine, as a reminder, is you get experience in trading by trading. You can read as many dynasty analysts as you want, but you have to lose a couple of trades, kind of as Lou said, like to understand value, and you have to see the market. So all right, well, that's good. And we can now move on to
The news.
And I think the main piece of news is we have football being played on Thursday. And we have Kenny Pickett and Carson Beck in the battle of the 5-yard outs. Yeah, that's exciting. Who could throw a 5-yard out better? But we have our news broken up into stock up, stock down. I'm kidding. We have good news, bad news, and I'm not sure this is good or bad news. So, Nate, which do you want to start with?
Let's go with bad news.
All right, we'll do the bad news. Get it out of the way. Pearsall is placed on season-ending IR. The Niners signed Debo as the substation is on full blast. They have 9 injuries as of Monday through 5 practices. And Dynasted's question is, seriously, though, is this even still a conspiracy theory? At what point does this become an established fact? So I will go with Nate on this one. Nate, what are you doing with the Niners?
I think you got to hold the guys you have until they're out at this point. I mean, if you've drafted some of these guys, you can't do much about it. As far as going into drafts, I'm still targeting Mike Evans. He always has some sort of leg issue, and then he always tends to play most of the season. I mean, it's been not the case a couple of times. But San Francisco doesn't have anybody else. Ricky Pearsall's gone. You've got DeJon Stribling, but then they bring in Debo Samuel. But how much is he really going to contribute? We don't know when we're going to see George Kittle, if we're going to see George Kittle. And when we do, is he going to be good? So I'm staying away from everybody but Mike Evans, I guess. That was a short way of saying that. DeJon Stribling, if I can grab him with like an 18th pick in a league and I'm punting on defense or kicker and it's one of those, I'll grab him as a flyer.
Yeah. Anyone else have anything to add on the Niners that they like? Anyone can speak.
I'm moving Stribling way up my rookie rankings.
Yep.
I had him as like a back end second, early third, maybe, just because he was the 33rd overall pick. But as we're getting news of how they're using him in training camp, they're putting him in the slot. We know he's a really good blocker, so he's going to be a guy that's probably out there more than we think. And now the injuries are piling up. So he's someone that I'm starting to move up my board. I think I have him in the same tier now as Chris Bell, if I remember correctly. So I'm moving him up. I think he's going to have the opportunity early in his career. And we did get a little bit of buzz coming out. I think it was last week where the 49ers took him so early because they heard that the Rams were actually trying to make a trade in so that they could acquire Stribling.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if you're McCaffrey or Kittle, you should just go home. just don't be anywhere near this facility for a couple of weeks. I'll let Mike jump in on this next one. Chris Brazel, season-ending knee injury. So Leggett said he lost like 12 pounds, which feels like a lot for a receiver. But what are we doing with the Panthers? Brazel's, they lost their take the top off the defense wide receiver. So now what?
So I don't know if I'm breaking bad news to you right now, but I think, did we have Leggett carted off the field today, guys?
Oh, perfect. Even better.
Yep.
So
Jalen Coker obviously is getting a bump there. I am not 100% sure. There's been so much news, but I think they also have an offensive line injury. If anybody knows if I'm right about that. So
the guy had like a heart issue.
It's making me nervous in general about the Panthers.
Yeah.
I really liked the vibes of the Panthers as they went down the stretch last year into the playoffs. It really felt very positive with Bryce Young, Dave Canales. But man, offensive line injuries can be so detrimental for a team. And they're like, this isn't like a powerhouse team that can deal with that. This is like a team that's trying to ascend and trying to turn things around. So it just bums me out. I think you're taking a little, I think you want to bump down Ted McMillan, bump down Jalen Coker. I guess maybe bump up Coker just because there should be extra targets there for him. But probably the running backs too. People got to chill on Jonathan Brooks, by the way, but that's kind of a side note. Yeah, so it's kind of a bummer. The Panthers offseason has been tough, also with the Nick Scorton injury as well. So
yeah,
not good.
Lou, anything to add on the Panthers from any perspective?
They got one of them substations there in Carolina too, or something. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah. I just checked in with Leggett. He was evaluated for a concussion, but he passed, so he's okay.
Okay,
that's a good thing.
Yeah. So he could have some like late round value, like in a best ball. I would take him in a best ball with my last pick.
Of course. Nate, do you have something? Okay. We'll do the good news. We'll do one for each of you. So Bijan got his money, 3-year, $75 million extension, $51 million guaranteed. Nate, we'll give you this one. What do you do with Bijan now? Is he RB1 in Dynasty now that he's paid?
I mean, he was before he was paid, right? Yeah. I look at this Atlanta team and they're a lost cause. I don't know what their future is. I don't know what this front office is doing. And I don't really care because Bijan Robinson is just going to get fed. All you do with this is you're a little bit more secure in the fact that he's not going anywhere. He's going to stay in a crappy offense that has to feature him for like 500 carries a season or 500 touches. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the Falcons it sounds like Tua is going to start. That's in the later stuff, but we'll just have to see. It's probably going to Penix at some point. Okay, Cam, Zay Flowers 4-year, $140 million extension, $108 million guaranteed. What does that do for dynasty rankings for you?
I'm really not moving him. I mean, like, it's great that he got paid, but I was already really high on Zay Flowers. So this is just confirming my previous bias that he's going to have a really good year and be a big part of what they're doing over in Baltimore. We've got Declan Doyle coming in, and we know that he's going to bring some of these shades of what we've seen in Ben Johnson offenses, where there's somebody that's going to be like the underneath slot option that gets peppered with targets. I'm expecting that to be Zay Flowers. It was that for him last year too. So like for me, there's really no change. I think the big piece of news for me is that Lamar Jackson's healthy. That's the only thing that can derail Zay Flowers is having to catch passes from, it's not Diego Pavia anymore. Skylar Thompson, I think, is the backup there. So like that's really Huntley. The only thing that gets in his way.
Yeah, Huntley's there, I think, still too. So that's we'll just have to see what that is. Okay, Mike, Chris Olave 4-year extension, $132 million up to that, $90 million guaranteed. So the Saints have Shuck, Tyson, and Olave for the next 4 years. E.T. Chan, as I call him, is there for probably a couple of years. So what are you doing with the Saints?
I'm starting to get sold on the Saints. The vibes are really good. Tyson's practicing, Olave's practicing. Both of them look good running drills. That's just drills, but it's nice to see him out there with the team. Shucks showed us some stuff last year. I really trust Kellen Moore, who brought the Eagles into the Super Bowl just a couple of years ago as well. I love seeing these wide receivers kind of set in the market. I know that Cam and Nate are in hardline negotiations. Cam's in a contract year right now. So I know he's trying to, like, they're kind of setting the market for Cam. He's hoping for that kind of money. But we'll see how that all plays out.
Yeah. Lou, Malik Neighbors has a real chance to play week 1. He's running routes and he looks good compared to a celebrity softball game. So obviously this didn't affect him in Dynasty too much, but are you back to just being he's in a tier kind of 1-2 area in Dynasty?
Oh, I never left that. I understand that there were people out there discounting him, and he was being sold for less than what I feel he was worth. And in early drafts, that sort of thing, like if in Scott Fishbowl or something like that, you probably got him at a bit of a discount. That time is passing now, and every new week and that sort of thing, we're going to get closer to him playing and showing off again. And if he was able to do what he did with Russell Wilson for a little bit last year and Daniel Jones the year before that, it's going to be wheels up, even in a Greg Roman offense.
Yeah. Okay. We'll go to the I'm not sure this is good or bad news. Cam, we'll start with you. The Baker Bucks drama. He's disrespected. He got a 2-year deal. He wanted more money. We have kind of positive side, he's going to play with a chip on his shoulder. Negative side, the Bucks feel like they're winning the award for like the bad vibes team this year. So what are you doing with Baker, Ibuka, Bucky, kind of that crew?
Yeah. So, I mean, Baker's had 4 consecutive years of QB1 seasons. So, like, in Dynasty, I'm not really worried about it. We've seen him be successful. So, I think if you're still valuing him as a QB1, which I am, I don't think you devalue him just because he doesn't have a new deal yet. I feel like the Bucks just got to sign these guys. Like, you have the talent there. If Baker heads somewhere else next year, like, I don't know. What are you going to do if you're the Bucks? Igbuka, I've seen some insane plays from him in camp. He had a nasty one-handed catch today. Godwin, I'm a little worried about just because, injury concerns have been a real thing throughout his career. But anytime he puts together a healthy season, he's a wide receiver 1. Probably we're dropping him down to wide receiver 2. Just injuries kind of stack up against him. McMillan, I've kind of been out on for his career. I like Ted Hurst a little bit more playing on the outside. But for me, it's just I haven't seen enough of McMillan. I feel like he's kind of been buried. He's had injuries. But the 2 wide receivers there, really who we're buying into, and Godwin and Ibuka. Yeah.
Cam's like the first guy I've seen anti-McMillan. Like everyone's so excited about he's going to catch like 15 touchdowns again. So it's just crazy. Okay, Mike, we'll go to you. Cousins is the starter to start camp. So what do you do with the Raiders now with that news? And when do you think Mendoza starts?
So my hot take is that we're going to see Mendoza for like most of the season this year. I just think that that's like going to be the move that kind of wins over the locker room. I think they're going to want to see him in the starting role after a while. He just can do a lot more than Cousins can do at this stage in his career. And we know that he's a smart kid. Mendoza's a smart kid. He's going to figure this offense out. Like, I understand wanting to kind of bench your rookie quarterback, and that's kind of a good way to let them grow. I think that maybe for 3 or 4 games, that could be how the Raiders go with it. But I definitely think we see Mendoza this year. I think he's going to be just too good to keep off the field and too instrumental to kind of like winning over this team and kind of getting it all to mesh. So that's my take. Now, Cousins could show some strength. Like, he's his 2nd year after the Achilles tear. So, he might have a little bit more strength and, ability to push off. And, we know he's always been like a pretty high-end mediocre quarterback. So he could kind of get back to being that. But I'm a Mendoza guy.
Yeah, I love that. Does anyone think that Cousins will be the starter longer than Mike? Because I know it's the hot take. Does anyone think Cousins is like through the bye in week 13? Yeah.
I kind of do. I think if Cousins doesn't completely screw this up and they finish like around 500, the team's going to be happy. They let Cousins roll the rest of the season. They get a middle draft pick and they roll out Mendoza next season.
Actually, something we should look at is when is the Raiders' first primetime game? Because that's when Cousins pukes on his shoes. And that is, wow, they don't have one. Perfect. So
see, Cousins all year.
Cousins all year.
Cousins QB1.
QB1 Cousins, because he doesn't have to play under the lights. Okay, Lou, I will go to you on the last one. Tua, like I said, is likely to be named the starter. Are you happier about that than Penix? And what does that do for London and Pitts? Bijan's Bijan.
I mean, I don't think either of these are great options, to be perfectly clear.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I mean, we've seen Tua be successful in the past. We've never seen that from Penix at all yet in the NFL. And Kevin Stefanski, he's a good offensive-minded coach. Like, he wasn't able to show it in Cleveland because, I mean, let's look at what they had. But Tua was able to show something with McDaniel. Now, I'm not saying that Tua is going to go out and be a QB1 or anything like that. But I think that this offense is going to kind of be okay as long as Tua is there, as long as he doesn't go diving headfirst into people's knees or the turf or anything like that, which he likes to do a lot more than he should, to be honest with you. So if he can avoid that sort of bonehead Cam Scatabo, Jackson Dart-esque mistake, I think it's going to be okay, all things considered.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think I like how you called it Scatabo Dart-esque, because that's definitely what it is, just like running forward with their head down. It's just seeing what happens. All right, Cam, Cyrus Allen got hurt, but he's fine. So let's hear about Cyrus Allen. I know he's your boy. I listened to Stock Up, Stock Down today, so I know he's your guy.
Thank you for listening. Yeah, I mean, Nate and I saw him live at the Senior Bowl, and at first, I didn't quite know who he was. I was like, "Who's the Cincinnati Bearcat that's out here?" But then, we recorded a ton of film of the Senior Bowl, and watching it back, it was just Cyrus Allen like making insane plays almost like daily for us. So it carried over. Well, first and foremost, how he ended up at the Senior Bowl. He performed extremely well at the American Bowl, got the invite to the Senior Bowl, showed out again. So then he moved on to the draft, was one of the top names in top 30 visits amongst NFL teams. So we saw the interest, then eventually gets drafted by the Chiefs in the 5th round. And we're only getting positive buzz all offseason on him. And as soon as we start getting the highlights from camp, like this guy's catching contested throws and double coverage. He's breaking guys' ankles in the short and deep routes. Like he just looks like a fantastic wide receiver. And like for me, I've moved him quite far up my board. My pre-draft rankings on Cyrus Allen, I think I had him in my like 3rd tier of wide receivers. And he's starting to work his way back up there. I moved him down because the draft capital wasn't great. And it seemed like a crowded wide receiver room at the time, but like really it's Xavier Worthy, it's Rashee Rice, Tyquan Thornton, and like, I don't know, I think he's a better route runner than all of those guys. He had 13 touchdowns last year, so he's a threat in the red zone. I just can write up a bunch of reasons why you should believe in Cyrus Allen. And if you're in your rookie drafts, you're probably wanting to take him in like the beginning of the 3rd round right now. I don't think I'm going to gas him up any higher than that. And then if you've already had your drafts, like throw out that 22nd, 3rd for him and just see what happens. Because that 3rd could end up being late. If it's like the 312 or something like that, really, what are we going to be drafting in the 2027 class that far out? We don't even know who's going to be available. We have a whole season of college football to play. Injuries happen. Last year, Cade Klubnik was the number 2 overall QB prospect, and look what happened to him this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think like rather than wait on that 2027 3rd and see what happens, I know people are really valuing it. Like throw it out there and go get Cyrus Allen.
Yep. Nate, we're going to go to your historical mind for this question. Jalen Polk retired, and he said, Dynasty's question is, how many Jalen Polk shares did you have in 2024, and is he the quickest Dynasty round 2 rookie draft flameout in history? The second part I don't think is true, but muted.
Le'Veon Bell's the worst flameout, because what did he last? He didn't even get to camp before he retired. He got drafted, but he didn't even make it to camp this year. Le'Veon Moss.
Yeah.
Le'Veon Moss.
Le'Veon Bell would be a really big deal.
That would be a really big deal. I think I had like 7 shares of him that year.
Oh.
I really believed in the landing spot. We thought that the offense was going to be completely different than it was. I thought there was actually going to be a passing attack on this New England Patriots team. We thought things were going to change with Mac Jones. They did not. Want.
Yeah.
That was a bad idea.
Yeah. It made, I don't like when there's like truthers who come out and say like, I hated Jalen Polk, and that like the dude was super hurt and retired because of injury. Like don't victory lap that stuff. Okay, I'm going to give Mike the next two, and I'm going to spring a story on Lou because it just happened. Taysom Hill is not returning to the Saints and is already talking to the Broncos because, of course, he is. And Bo Nix is back and basically said nothing has changed in playing style and won't be afraid to run. So, Mike, running backs and Bo Nix, if Taysom Hill signs, and then are you back in on Bo Nix now that he wants to run again?
Okay, I'm going to start with the Taysom Hill thing. So Nate and I talked about this on Monday during our mock draft show that we do every Monday. And I kind of poured a little cold water on it. And so I didn't know that he was actively talking to the Broncos. Now that this is the second time I'm hearing it, now I'm like, is this just that like advertisement technique? Like now I'm starting to believe it, or is this a real thing? So I could see now, like I'm telling myself a story, like if Taysom Hill was actually a little bit unhappy with Kellen Moore's usage of him. Obviously, Moore kind of got these dynamic weapons to surround Shuck with, and maybe Hill wasn't a big part of the game plan. Sean Payton, Taysom Hill have a history together, so I could see it being a thing. I think he's also like nearing 40 years old, right? Like how old is Taysom Hill?
I think he's like 37.
Yeah, so I just don't really know if he still is going to have all of that. So yeah, I'm not really sure. I think that let's like just moving on to Bo Nix. I think Taysom Hill is kind of like I'm not really going for him even if he decides to like sign with the Broncos or something. Maybe. Nope, I don't think I would draft him. I think I'm good on Taysom Hill at 37 years old. For Bo Nix, running around, I think that's going to be a thing. It's been a thing. He's generally good at avoiding contact too. He didn't get hurt on a rushing play. He got hurt on like a play where they spiked the ball or something.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure in the Bills game, he was spiking the ball and stepped wrong, or someone stepped on him, and so I think he's generally good at avoiding contact. He kind of just takes the open space and gets down, and he's quick enough to do it. So I do see him still utilizing the run. I think this Broncos offense could be much improved. And then if Nick Benito's injury, he left the field today with an injury, hurts their defense, then that's even more scoring for this Broncos offense to have to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Before I throw it to Lou, I would be upset if I didn't have 10 touchdowns on the Saints either, because that was like Taysom Hill's like average when he was with Peyton. So I think that's why he probably wants to go to the Broncos. Okay, Lou. This just came out. Zach Ertz is cleared for all football activities and wants to play again. Where do you want to see him, and are you buying him for just a fourth in Dynasty or something?
I don't want to see him because I think if he plays this year, he's going to be playing for Washington, and I want to see what our guy Chigakonkwo can do, fully unleashed as the wide receiver 2 in that offense, because that would be fun, and I like fun things. And Zach Ertz at this point, unfortunately, is not fun. So I don't really want to see him anywhere. I'd like to see him, save what's left of his body, his battered and bruised and bloodied body, and take his earnings and, I don't know, go marry some other pop star that's not Taylor Swift now that she's off the market.
Okay. I like that. And yeah, I think it's typical Zach Ertz to like, he stayed too long in Philly. He stayed too long in Arizona. He is going to stay too long in Washington. It's unfortunately his cross to bear. Okay, Nate, we'll have you decide. Would you like to do trades or listener questions first?
Let's do trades. I love ending on questions.
All right, good. Let's go to
Trade Addicts Trade.
Thank you, Brian Haar. And Trade Addicts leagues your 12-team Superflex PPR 10 and premium with 1.75 per target reception and 0.05 per return yard in all leagues except TA1, and we have TA1 trades. So we have Garrett Wilson and the aforementioned Jalen McMillan for Blake Corum, Antonio Williams, and Eli Raridan. Cam, why don't you start with this one?
Ooh, okay. I know we were just saying Chig is potentially the number 2 target in Washington, but I really like Antonio Williams. I know Eli Raridan's in a situation where he's probably going to be the starting tight end next year because it's the last year of Hunter Henry's contract. And then Blake Corum, I just feel like, I don't know if you saw his offseason workout videos, but this dude, I think we might have talked about it, Frank. This dude is doing some crazy workouts. For me, I like Garrett Wilson, though. Like, I just feel like that's a no-brainer. You're buying an elite talent that is going to get a better quarterback at some point. If they stink again this year, we're gassing up this 2027 QB class. So, like, if the Jets jet, we're gonna have a good quarterback there. And if not, like I actually believe in Geno Smith. I believe in Cade Klubnik.
Too.
I think that like yeah, I just don't know. I don't know how much further Wilson's value is gonna fall. So I feel like you're kind of like throwing like a bunch of change to get a dollar. And then we talked a little bit about McMillan. I think it's a great dart throw. That's the kind of thing where you just want to like, grab something else if you're sending all these assets away. And I really like this Garrett Wilson side.
Mike, what do you think?
I'm with Cam here. I just, when you have one player that's kind of like more of a stud like Garrett Wilson, you're just going to kind of tip that way in most trades. So that's where I'm going there with Garrett Wilson. Not getting enough like surefire fantasy points out of any of these three guys I'm getting back. I think that right away, it was pretty quick Wilson for me.
Lou?
Yeah, there's a lot of hopium on that quorum side that the team getting that, hoping that those guys turn into something. Because I like Blake Corum. I like him a whole lot. And you're still just kind of like crossing your fingers every week that he gets that touchdown to make it worth rostering him, really. Because as long as Kyron Williams there, I mean, I feel like nobody's excited about Kyron Williams, but the coaches trust him, and that's what matters. And as much as we want to say, oh, I like Antonio Williams and I like Eli Raridan, like super valid. And these are rookies, and it's tough for them to get on the field a lot. I mean, there's guys like, Stephon Diggs floating around out there that could block Williams for another, maybe potentially a couple years even, so it's tough for me to get excited about the guys on that end when we have a Garrett Wilson, and I am a Jalen McMillan person. I think we're going to end up seeing a lot more of him this year than some people may realize. So yeah, that seems I don't understand that one, but hey, it's good to lose trades, right?
Yeah. Nate, bring it home.
Yeah, I'm on the Garrett Wilson, Jalen McMillan side. I'm not a big believer in Blake Corum. I think Kyron Williams has that backfield blocked up for at least another couple seasons, even if the usage kind of moves towards the middle for both of them. And I'm with Lou on Jalen McMillan. I think that he's an asset in this offense, that he showed flashes last season, and then he got hurt. And then they had Godwin, and they had Evans, and they had Ibuka, and you had all this going on. Even when there were injuries, we weren't seeing him fed as much as we had seen in his rookie season. But I think he's a part of this offense. I like Ted Hurst a lot. And Cam, I'm not saying I don't. I love Ted Hurst. But I think Ted Hurst is going to take a couple of years. He's more of a raw prospect, which we saw pretty hard in Mobile, where he's good, he's not great. Can he get to great? Yes. His size and his hands will get him there. But I'm going to stick with Wilson because I do think Wilson, too, is going to have a good season. I like what the Jets are doing. I don't think they're going to win a lot of games, but Geno Smith is going to feed these receivers.
Mm-hmm. Ted Hurst feels like Godwin's heir apparent, not the guy who's going to start now. He's the guy they're going to kind of work on to take over for Godwin in a year or two. Yeah. But I think when you look at this, there is someone who doesn't like Garrett Wilson and someone who loves Eli Raridan, because that's the only way I could see this trade evening out. So there are some people who like Raridan. So I guess I get it, but I would easily take the Wilson side. All right, now we get to go to the outhouse trade of the week.
Outhouse trade of the week. Outhouse trade of the week. We're gonna talk about a trade addicts trade, whichever one Russ decides.
Shout out Zach Reed. That song gets me every time. All right, Mike, you get to start this one. Justin Jefferson for Carnell Tate and Michael Wilson.
Oh, I already know this one's gonna get spicy. I'm going Justin Jefferson here. So I still believe Justin Jefferson's like a top 6 wide receiver in the NFL. I think he's quarterback proof. And at his ceiling, this guy's like winning you games absolutely by himself. JJ McCarthy's not a quarterback, Lou.
Neither is Kyler Murray.
I disagree on that one. And we already talked about this, Nate. So
we did.
Like I said, this one's gonna get spicy. So on the other hand of this trade, like it is close for me. So it's not an easy Jettas. Again, I just kind of tip in favor of these kind of like stud players. And I think that Carnell Tate is like an aspiring stud for sure. And I really love him. I've traded a lot for Carnell Tate this offseason. I think he's been undervalued in this draft class. I think he's really, really polished. But I just haven't seen it at the NFL level yet, and I've seen it with Justin Jefferson. Michael Wilson, I think he's a great player, and maybe ceiling could be like a T. Higgins, but I definitely think even at his best, he's splitting the wide receiver one role with Harrison, and then like McBride is also kind of the wide receiver one there as well. So Wilson, great player. Tate, really, really great player too. But I'm just going to take this guy that like I've seen in the past where he's scored me like 30 points a week, and I need that on my team. So maybe this is one where I'm losing it. And I think we want to go to Lou on this one, because this is
Lou's
where our Justin Jefferson disagreement lies between Lou and I.
Yeah. So to start off, I really think that there are situations where both teams can win here, depending on where the teams are. Like if the team trading away Jefferson is just really trying to get younger, they've got an aging team and they're like, okay, I can get a stud young wide receiver and someone else I like for this guy that I don't necessarily feel might underperform for a year or two while they get the quarterback situation figured out. Yeah, you know what? That's super valid, and I get it. Because I love Carnell Tate. I really like Michael Wilson. I understand that he's kind of got a wide range of outcomes here, and it really wouldn't be a surprise to see him hit any of them. That said, like, he did the dang thing last year, man, and he did it really, really well. I don't understand how a team can fully move away from that. Maybe he's the 1A, 1B with Harrison, right? I don't know, but I'm willing to take that chance. And I like what they're doing in Tennessee. So much of Cam Ward's struggles last year were his wide receivers not catching the dang ball. And if there's one thing that Carnell Tate can do really freaking well, is catch the dang ball. So I'm a big fan of getting those guys back if you're trading away a Justin Jefferson. Now, that being said, I do not think that Jefferson is going to be what people want him to be for a couple years. Kyler Murray is not a good enough quarterback to pull up Jefferson to where he was. Now, maybe J.J. McCarthy is just that bad, right? Like in my studies, we don't get players like J.J. McCarthy en masse to study and see what happens after that, because they're historically bad, and there's only like 2 of them in history. So I really don't know, right? You want to say that Justin Jefferson's going to bounce back? Yeah, okay. I can understand it. I'm just not willing to pay that kind of price to find out.
Nate?
Yeah, I'm selling a lot of Justin Jefferson right now, and if I can get Carnell Tate and Michael Wilson back for him, this is going to sound crazy, but I think Michael Wilson probably has a ceiling equivalent to Justin Jefferson this season based on offenses. Kyler Murray has had seasons with negative passing EPA. I mean, we see the kind of quarterback he is. Yes, he is an improvement, but how much of an improvement is he for a guy like Justin Jefferson? TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, Jordan Addison, these guys are going to be fine. I just don't trust it with Jefferson. We saw it last year because he had 141 targets, but only 84 catches and 2 touchdowns. I feel like that could be what happens with him this season, where he gets it to over 1,000 yards, 70 to 80 targets, but we're looking at like 2 to 3 touchdowns, which in fantasy for a wide receiver you're drafting as a top 5 to 8 wide receiver is just, it's nuts. I'll sell him. I'll take Carnell Tate back for all of the reasons that Lou said. I love the Michael Wilson Carnell Tate side. That's the side I want to be on here.
Cam, close it out.
I would actually like to donate my airtime to my best bud, Mike Fidella, to make the case for Kyler Murray, because I know we've got a big Kyler Murray believer in the room.
Okay, so it's first of all, it's also anti J.J. McCarthy. This guy had 16 turnovers last season and only played about 10 games. So this guy is just not, he wasn't ready, and I'm not trying to bash on, he's a young kid. But it just wasn't there for him. We've seen Justin Jefferson perform with Josh Dobbs and some other pretty bad quarterbacks that are definitely worse than Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray was the #1 overall pick. He's an extremely talented player that most of his issues come from maybe like the mental side of the game. which I think if that's the case, I think that like Kevin O'Connell can be a big aid in that. He's never had a coach as good as Kevin O'Connell. He's had Jonathan Gannon and Cliff Kingsbury as his head coaches, who, in my opinion, are not great coaches. And then on top of that, like we look at Sam Darnold came into Minnesota and he came from like a Jets system where he did not really do very much with the Jets. And you look at Kyler Murray, he did a lot more with the Cardinals, I think, than Darnold did with the Jets. So, and there was stretches of Kyler's career where he was throwing to Greg Dortch and Rondale Moore. And those were like, and Zach Ertz, who was staying too long. So, I really still, I don't think that he's like a top 10 quarterback, but for fantasy football, he can be a top 10 quarterback with his rushing upside, with a great wide receiver room, and with Kevin O'Connell as a head coach. I really think that we're way, way underselling Kyler Murray as a player. And, I know there's been jokes. I know he's asked for it to a degree with some of his behavior for sure. But he's also had some really special stretches, even in his NFL career. So, there's a chance that he can harness that. That's all I'll say. That's it.
So I will say, you guys are on maybe the official Kyler Murray podcast. This is a Kyler Murray room. And the reason for that being, all he does is finish top 12. In points per game, he is a top 12 over and over and over. With Gannon, with Kingsbury, with Rondale Moore, with, whatever he had. And this offense is more built for what he is good at, kind of a spread out, not going under center. He doesn't have to hide behind the center. He sees everything. It's a lot like he did at Oklahoma. It's a lot like he did in the initial Kingsbury years when they were like 10-2 and then exploded. And this offense, I trust O'Connell one more time. He messed up JJ, but I think JJ was already messed up to begin with. But I think I got to give O'Connell one more chance. He made Daniel Jones into a top 12 quarterback, like essentially last year. And I know that was Steichen's offense, but O'Connell helped that along the way. So if you can turn Daniel Jones, like the king of fumbles, into that, Kyler, I know he's had a rough couple of days in camp. It's like the first week. He has a month. We'll be okay. I am fully on the Jefferson side. I like what Tate's doing. I like what Wilson's doing, but Jefferson is still Jefferson. He's 27. He's a top one or tier 1 dynasty asset still in my eyes. So that's how I take all that. Okay. We will go to Lou to start this one. TA4, Wan'Dale Robinson for Jalen Warren and a 28 fourth because it had to be there.
Talk about your throw-ins. That is the throw-iniest of throw-ins ever. My goodness. What is the least valuable thing that you have on your team? I will take that back. I just need more than just Jalen Warren. Holy cow. I gotta like the Wan'Dale Robinson side here, kind of for a lot of similar reasons that I gave for liking Carnell Tate. I think Cam Ward, that was a terrible situation that he came into, and he got a little better as the season went along. Like we kind of saw it when after Bill Callahan was fired and they started running something resembling I don't even want to say just a non-Pee-wee football offense. Like he got better, but nobody could catch the ball, and he was running out there with 2 fourth round rookie wide receivers. Like that's a disaster, no matter how you slice it. He's earned 140 targets in 2 years back to back. Like this is a legit NFL wide receiver. So give me that, especially in Dynasty. Like they just last so much longer than running backs. Jalen Warren, I like him. I want to like him more, but he breaks down if he's given the whole load. He's going to be sharing part of the load still, and he's older than it feels like he should be anyhow as a running back, which is never great in Dynasty.
Nate?
Yeah, I'm with Lou on this. Wan'Dale Robinson, like I said, 140 plus target 2 years in a row. And last year, look at what that offense was. I mean, Jackson Dart got dinged up, and we've got Jameis Winston throwing the ball all over the freaking place. It was insane. But he still got that 140 plus. So, yeah, Wandale for me. I just don't believe in the other side of this trade. Jalen Warren, again, he's going to be splitting time with Rico Dowdle. We don't think Rico Dowdle's going to eat into his share, and especially in the fantasy side. Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, and a 28 fourth, I mean,
It had to be there.
I had to be there. I get it.
That's got the
But
deal.
it's not going to sway me.
Cam?
Yeah, Wandale Robinson. He just signed a big contract. I think it was 4 years, 70 million with a max of 78 for him.
Mm-hmm.
Brian DeBull brought him over. He knows how he's going to use him. He knows this offense already. So right away, we're going to get production from him as a Titan. I don't know. Jalen Warren is fine. He's like a RB3, I guess, is like the upside case you're making for him. So maybe if you're a contender and you have a bunch of wide receiver depth and you're like, no one will give me a running back and I have to get a running back to make sure that I can manage through the season. Like, we were chatting the other day, Lou and I, and we were talking about trades, like this PV and DR rating system that Lou's built. It's based on subjectivity of what's going on in your league, the dynamics of your team, where you are and how you're trying to build this roster. Maybe you're a rebuilder, maybe you're contending. So for a contending roster that's heavy at wide receiver, I can make the case that if this is all you could get done, sometimes you just got to do it. But if we're in a vacuum and you have to have me pick one of these, I'm picking the Wandale Robinson side. I believe in the talent. I know how they're going to use him already. And we've seen him with, I think it was 140 targets in back-to-back years. Maybe he doesn't see that again this year, but that's enough of a target share to keep him in that wide receiver 2 to wide receiver 3 range.
Yep.
Mike, clean sweep.
Yep, easy Wandale Robinson there. I'm glad Cam brought up the kind of context of the whole thing. If let's say you have Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Lad McConkey, a bunch of Malik Neighbors, a bunch of great wide receivers.
Congrats on your title if you have that.
Right?
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
But if you had all those great wide receivers and then you have Wandale Robinson as your wide receiver 8 and you only had 2 good running backs or something, then this makes sense. Go ahead and do it. But in terms of value, it's easily Wandale.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, TA5, Omarion Hampton for Scatterbo 27 second. Nate can start this one.
Marion Hampton all day. Cam Scatterbo, he's fun to watch. I saw him the year he was at the Senior Bowl with Arizona State. You could see that there isn't a whole lot going on between the years with him, and that concerns me at the NFL level. It's fun in college, right? And he's just a freaking freight train. But guys at the NFL are a lot bigger. They hit a lot harder. And this dude's doing backflips on a bad knee at WWE. I want nothing to do with that stuff. And in Dynasty, when you're looking at players long-term and you see them doing this dumb stuff off the field, these are guys that I move on from. And I will quite immediately just give me Omarion Hampton. This guy, from what we can tell, is going to be a heavy part of fairly run-heavy offense. So, yeah, give me Hampton. I get rid of the picks. I'll get rid of Scatterbo.
Cam?
It's pretty close for me, honestly. I really like Hampton. But I was digging into some of the numbers in Mike McDaniel rushing offenses. And we know he really can scheme up this rushing offense. But when you look at how many rush attempts the Miami Dolphins finished with under his tenure, he only had one season where he was in the top half of the league in rush attempts. So, we're kind of gassing Mike McDaniel's effect on this offense up quite a bit. And when I really look at this trade, initially my gut says Hampton just because I have him ranked higher in my rankings and I want the better player. But, okay, so let's say, Hampton gets you somewhere between 250 to 300 points. Scatterbo, same thing. So they're pretty close. But then that 27 second is going to give you more fantasy points that you could potentially put in your lineup. And I actually like this running back class, and I think that there's going to be enough talent pushed down the board because there's so many QBs supposedly coming out. You said that this year too. But there's supposedly so many QBs coming out that you're basically getting 2 solid running backs for one, and just it's a 2-for-1 deal for me where I think I'm taking the Scatterbo side, and it's really close. But just thinking about that 27 second being another solid RB for me, And we know running backs get injured frequently. I think wide receivers get injured more often, but I just want both of them. I want 2 running backs instead of 1.
Yeah. Mike?
So I'm kind of like with Nate on that. Like, I just don't really want Scatabo on my roster. I'm kind of annoyed by him, just in generally speaking. So, and I do think that Hampton's the better player as well. So, like, those 2 things are definitely going in Hampton's favor, but it's a pretty close trade when you take into account the 2027 second. I definitely think you could realistically project Hampton for like a longer tenure of success than Scatteraboo with running style, and just with like, just when your players are kind of like getting into the limelight, a lot of times that's not a good thing. So that could be the case with Scatteraboo. So I think like it might feel a little safer just to have Hampton. The 27 second is definitely tempting. Like we've talked about like the kind of like downside case of like that. We were talking about a third earlier. Well, it could be the 312. Well, the second could be the 201. So like if it's the 201 in the 2027 draft class, then you're really talking. But again, like it's just icky rostering Scatteraboo for me. So I'd feel better if I had Hampton. And sometimes that's how I play fantasy.
Yeah. Lou, go ahead.
Yeah. I think Nate and Mike bring up a great point that we don't talk about enough in Dynasty, and that this is your team. If you don't like the vibes of a player, you are perfectly justified to trade away, undervalue, not trade for, cut, whatever you want to do with that player. And if Scatterable gives you the ick, by all means, get rid of him, don't roster him, whatever. That is perfectly fine, and I am in favor of that. But as we're talking about value and what do I like more, I like that Scatterable side by a decent amount. I think people forget how much of Hampton's value was propped up by his receiving work last year. And with, Keaton Mitchell there now, I mean, we know some of it's going to be siphoned off by him. Not just that, but Hampton doesn't have a whole lot going on between his ears either. And it just, the problem with him is it showed up negatively on the football field. Blew numerous pass blocks before he got hurt last year. He had that boneheaded play against Kansas City coming down the end of the first half, where Kansas City was able to sneak a field goal out that they should have had no chance at whatsoever. Now, you hope he shores up some of this stuff going from year 1 to year 2, right? But this was an issue with him coming out of college as well. So like these were known issues with him, and we're seeing it now manifest on the NFL field. If these are enough to worry you, totally makes sense to me to move off of Hampton. And I mean, I don't think Scatterable is going to have a long career, but I think he's going to have a fun career. So if that's the kind of thing that you're looking for, hey, go for it. And like the other guys have said, that 27 second on top of it, yep, that's enough for me personally.
Yeah. It's funny. You talk about vibes. He did the video of the backflip, and like within the hour, I saw like 3 different notifications, like on the block, just like people were just out. And I'm like, I don't really want that. So I get the vibes and wanting to be out on that. I'm kind of the same way. I don't think I have any shares of him anymore, but I'm happy to not have shares. All right, Cam, set this next one up. So Optimus trade. Let's hear it.
Okay. So
first I'll give like scoring rules and stuff. Start how many
yes.
like that.
So it's a 1 QB league. It's a home league. A lot of people are in this league for their first time in Dynasty. We've been running since I think 2021. So this is in its 5th year. We've had some very bad trades go down. Mike was mentioning earlier. Well, let me finish with the scoring. I'm sorry. It's 1 QB, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex. So just like a very simple league. That's what the league voted on for our settings. It's PPR. Passing touchdowns are worth 4, pretty much standard across the board. Everywhere else. There's really nothing too exciting going on. But 2 years ago, we had a trade go down that we let go through. And it was Jamar Chase and Saquon Barkley for Devin Singletary, Tank Dell, Christian Watson, 2 seconds and 2 thirds and like maybe like a first or something like that. Maybe 2 firsts. Mike, you'd probably know more than I would on this one.
I have no idea. It was a bunch of change, like a ton of change, like a whole dump truck full of change. for
Yeah.
like $1 million bill, for Jamar
Yeah.
Chase and Saquon Barkley.
Was it
And
$1
this
million
was-
in
It wasn't
change?
traded down.
It was.
No,
It
it was
might
not.
have been, but I don't think so.
It was like a small children-sized piggy bank. So we let that trade go through. We roasted the guy and let him know, like, hey, like next time shop around at least. Like we all would have paid more than that. So this guy over the next couple of years is just very quiet. Eventually leaves the league, and we have to find a replacement, which we do. We get another guy in. We have the manager that left cover the buy-in for this year for our new member, which I feel like that should just be standard across all the leagues you're in. If you're going to join a league and take over an orphan, you should probably not have to pay or get some sort of discounted rate or like some sort of advantage. I know some leagues will give you like an extra second round pick, which is kind of nice in your rookie drafts. But this same team that happened to acquire Saquon and Chase just made a trade where they also acquired Malik Neighbors and a 2028 first round pick for Saquon Barkley.
Oh, it's
So Malik Neighbors and a 2028 first for
Yes,
Saquon Barkley
that's
was
what-
the deal
yeah.
here. And we sat on it for about 48 hours and talked to the manager that that first sent this trade and decided that we can't let this one go through because now we've created a team that has just an absolute super team. And we've already had this league like not make their picks in the rookie draft. We had 4 people time out. So like this league is on life support. So I struck down the trade, which I hated to do. I never want to prevent a trade from going through. Everybody should always get to learn and experience making bad trades. Like Frank, you said earlier, like the only way to learn is to make a lot of trades. But this one was just so egregiously bad. It was like a league ruining trade after we already let one go through. So I struck it down. So I want you to hear your guys' perspective. Is this a trade that you would cancel in your leagues, or do you think you let it go? And if the league dies, it dies. Let me get your takes on it. And Frank, actually, you give us you let us start every time. I want to get your take.
So I struggle with this because I'm in a couple home leagues myself where some stuff like this kind of happens. Like Dante Foreman went for a 25 first in one of these leagues. So like, yeah, I know. And he needed a running back and it made no sense. But I struggle with it because I don't think it should ever, I don't care if you're the commissioner, it should never be one person's decision to strike down a trade. I think it should always be like a vote or something like that. And I hate voting through the system, like where people can like vote against it, but because then you have people who like just vote against it for the fun of it. But if there's something truly egregious and the league all agrees on it, then I think you strike this down. And I think this is probably to that level, especially like, I don't care if he needs a running back, like that's too much on one side. And that's where I would draw the line is like, it shouldn't be one person's decision to veto it, but if the entire league thinks this is crazy, and so if you have, kind of people who are arm's length from the league, ask the 7 people who are playing, right? Like who are involved and care, and ask them and get a majority. And if that's the case, then you veto it. So Nate, what do you think?
So I'm usually team never veto, but then also I remember like the NFL allows owners to veto trades, right? So it has to clear through the NFL. So, and while I still generally remain never veto, like looking at this trade, and there are trades that can ruin leagues. We had somebody a couple of years ago in our home league, which isn't even Dynasty, make a trade right before the playoffs, which the deadline was week 1 of the playoffs. They made a trade before the playoffs and everyone was really angry about it. My sister-in-law was actually listening to our content, so it was a good trade. But I had a whole league come at me that was super angry about it, and I tried to explain, like, no, like, Brenton Strange is actually playing really well here. Like, he's kind of getting into this offense, or whoever it was. And we had 3 people leave the league over that trade because they decided it was collusion that allowed somebody to get all the way to the semifinals of the playoffs, that it wasn't fair and we should have vetoed it. In hindsight, because everyone was so upset about it, and to save 3 people from leaving, I probably should have vetoed it in hindsight. But those are the only situations. And it really does need to be something where the whole league is saying, like, hey, this isn't okay. Like, this trade is tilting things. There's clear collusion here. those situations, I think it has to happen. But overall, I'm anti-veto. This was a good situation, though, Cam. I think you were right to do it.
Yeah. Lou, what do you think? And then we'll go back to Mike since he's in the league too.
Sure. So I'm with you, Frank. I don't think it should ever come down to one person. I'm part of a few dynasty leagues. In my home one, I really like. There's kind of like a caucus of 3, and they rule on kind of everything, right? Like ties need to be broken. Those issues that pop up, you can be around for forever, have great bylaws, and all of a sudden there's something like Brendan Sorsby comes up. That's what they're there for. These just super one-off situations that you never think are going to pop up, and things like this too, where like we've been around for over 15 years now and never had to veto anything, but if it was going to come up, this is who it would go through. The trade itself, yeah, man. I mean, there's in a vacuum it's bad. In the context, it's even worse, and that's the problem.
Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, so I was the Malik Neighbors recipient in this trade. So I got the earlier trade that we mentioned where I got like Jamar Chase and Saquon Barkley for all these like little teeny tiny pieces. I also traded the year prior, Dameon Pierce for a first round pick and Pierce's rookie year. And that pick ended up being the 101. So I ended up with the 101 and 102 that year and got Bajan and Gibbs. And then I had Justin Jefferson from the startup draft, Jamar Chase, and now I'm adding Malik Neighbors to this team that also had like George Kittle, Kyle Pitts, Harold Fannin. It's just like an insanely stacked team that's like, it is like, I look at it as just like guaranteed money for all the rest of my buy-ins every year. It's not good. It's not a healthy place for a league to be. And this is like a home league. So we don't, even myself, I am okay with this trade being vetoed. We talked about it a little bit on Blue Sky. It was a really good conversation piece. People love talking trades. Obviously that's why you do what you do, Frank. And so I think that like after talking with some people online about it, like there are maybe a way we could have approached this, and like Cam's the commission, and Cam, you do a great job. And like a great way to approach that would be like if Cam maybe talk to me, talk to the other party in the trade, and like convince us to undo the trade ourselves. And then it's not like technically a veto. You keep the league in a healthier place. And like we could have possibly even done that for the Jamar Chase trade, years ago as well. So I think that's like when you're in a situation like that, if you're really talking about like keeping everybody calm in the league and not kind of getting an uproar over a veto, which we didn't have in this league. I think a lot of the league didn't even notice that this happened. We're really trying to revive this league. So I think that's one way you can go about it, right? Have the two parties of the trade kind of come to their senses and reverse the trade themselves, so you don't have to kind of be the dictator. I will say I'm a commissioner of I think 4 or 5 leagues now, and I will recommend to commissioners out there that do that. Like you're an instrumental part of your league. I would really recommend you just be a dictator. And if you're a fair commissioner, then people are going to stick around in their leagues. And I'm not saying that like be a dictator in the sense to like skew things to make your team win, but just don't ask for all this input. We have a league that we have lots of people want input, and it really gets messy really fast. And if you just make the decisions, and if you're a fair person and you're really trying to do what's right for the league, the managers in your league are going to respect you for it, and they're going to stick around, and they're going to be more engaged. So I really think taking things into your own hands and just making a quick decision keeps everything kind of like easy for everybody in the league to keep track of. So that's just kind of one more note just on commissioning, and just kind of as we wrap up this whole talk about this unfair trade. Even I, the recipient of Malik Neighbors in the 28th first, I'm okay with reversing that.
Yes.
Cam, it sounds like your problem is Mike, and you need to boot him out of the league.
Yeah, right.
Dispersal
draft people back.
Yeah, I'll get on it. Actually, hold on. Mike, excuse me, I got this one. There he goes.
Oh, no.
So Nate probably knows this, but for the rest of you, there is a rookie draft in Trade Addicts lore called the J Mike Invitational, where J Mike in TA6 had the entire 2021 first round in the rookie draft, which was the Chase, Lawrence, Devontae, everything year, and he's won like 4 straight ever since. So sometimes things just work out. He really had to suck to get there, and this was before I was around. Sure. But like it's one of those things where sometimes these trades just happen, and I understand this isn't one of those, but like sometimes these teams just stack up to be super teams. And like the Damian Pierce for the first, I wouldn't have vetoed at the time. Like, I think that's fair, but like there's different lines to this. So,
yeah.
All right.
Sure. I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Thank you, Arnold. We are in listener questions. Trade X Superfan, is now the time to sell Jacobs? And if so, what is he worth? Nate.
I'm probably holding him right now because I think if he has a big blow up year this year, people are going to get really like googly eyed about him. And if you're looking for an asset towards the playoffs, I think you can move him like week 8, week 9, week 10 after he's had probably 400 or 500 yard games and Green Bay's offense is looking good before he implodes. And at that point, I mean, depends on how needy somebody is in your league. You could probably get a first plus for him.
Yeah. Cam?
It's tough because you're not going to get the value for Jacobs that he's going to actually put up this year on the field. Teams are going to want to try to lowball you and get either he's an aging running back. He's hitting the age cliff.
With a suspension looming, by the way.
I mean, I just don't know about these suspensions. It's so tough to factor these in because sometimes they just end up being nothing. Yeah. You know, it's like if it's 2 games or 4 games, like that's really not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. So like, okay, what is he worth to me? For me to move off Jacobs, a 27 first gets it done pretty easily for me. Maybe like a 26 first and second gets it done for me. If I'm looking for players that I would like to send Jacobs away for, that's when it gets really tough because like you want to get younger. Maybe it's like you're stacking up a couple guys. Maybe you just try to go get the Denver Broncos backfield and lock that up. That's a little weird getting into Sean Payton's kind of realm. But that's a really good question of like, what is Jacobs worth? He's an aging veteran that's been a top 12 running back for most of his career. I'm one to hold on to the veterans. I think as soon as you have value, that value usually sustains year over year. I know some people play a little bit differently, but I want to buy. I'm the guy trying to buy Jacobs right now.
Mike?
Yeah, I'm definitely good. If I'm getting a 27 first, I'll take that for Jacobs. I'm a little bit more quick to move off these older players than Cam for sure. So I definitely would be interested if you could get like a Travion Henderson. I think he's a little bit devalued right now in Dynasty just because of the whole Ramondre Stevenson of it all. So that would be kind of like a nice target. I don't know if you can get that, but hopefully you're selling to a contender that is willing to give up some future points for some now points. So if you're trying to get younger, like maybe going after Henderson, I don't know if you can get that. Even like a Bashal Tutin could be an interesting one if you're a Bashal Tutin guy. I'm not personally, but I might take the shot on something like that. If you really think that Jacobs is going to slow down here soon. I do think that Jacobs has been a little bit more prone to injury than some of these other like Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley have been. I don't want to put that tag on people, but Jacobs definitely dealt with some stuff during his time in the Raiders. So I'm just not as high on Jacobs maybe as some other people, but also like I'm asking for Travion Henderson. So it's not like I'm too low on him either. I think he's fine in redraft. I would look to move off of him in Dynasty for like, if you can get a future first, I might even take a 28 first if my team's not a contender. That's where I'm at.
Lou, close us out.
Yeah. Kind of bringing it all together here. It's if you want to move off of Josh Jacobs, do it during point scoring season. He's going to have more value then than he's going to have right now. Because right now it's really easy to say, oh, I don't like it. He looks icky. And then when he's scoring 15 points a week for you in your lineup, it's like, oh, okay, that's worth more. So just hang on a little bit because he's going to put up some points this year. It's not like Marshawn Lloyd is going to be anything behind him and take work away or anything like that, right? So he's going to be there in Green Bay putting up points. As far as what you can get back, it really depends on what your team needs, and that's something that you're going to know, which is, I hate to say it depends, but it really does. Like in terms of picks, I'm right with these guys. Kind of any first is going to get it done. I don't care how late it is, 27 versus 28. I'm willing to get creative with players, a combination of players and picks, that sort of thing. Like, a Wandale in the 27-second, that might get me there, honestly, especially if my team is wide receiver needy. It really depends. But that's kind of the realm of where I'm looking at for him.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I am probably waiting till the season. I think if you can get a 27 first now, go ahead and take it. But if you can't, don't force it. Is kind of how I'm thinking about it. Okay. What is the best draft day trade you made? So your rookie draft was that day. There's some people excited. If we can circle back if you need time to think, but Nate, why don't you start? Do you have one off the top of your head?
I do. I've been thinking about it, and it's funny because these two guys, Mike and Cam, just brought me into one of their dynasty leagues, the Dynasty G-Gens, and it was an orphan, and the team's decent enough. There's some work to do, and I kind of want to show these guys up here and win the league, and I ended up with 6 picks in the first round, and I got 3 of them on draft day. People kept like, hey, I'll sell this pick. Hey, I'll sell this pick. Do I have too many guys for my taxi squad? Absolutely, but I have trade bait for the rest of the season, and I'm really excited about it. That was my favorite. I've never loaded up that much in a round before. I was in a draft with our dude Brad Bolt from Australia, startup draft, and he traded, and he ended up with the entire 15th and 16th rounds in that startup draft. So I'm trying to be like Brad. I got halfway there in the first of a rookie draft.
And there's the show title, Be Like Brad. Cam, what do you think?
Yeah, I was a huge Luther Burden fan. He was my wide receiver 1 in last year's class. So last year I was on the clock, or someone was on the clock, and I think it was the beginning of the second round. And I sent them an offer to trade my 2026 first to them so that I could move up and grab Luther Burden. And at the time, he was like a 204, kind of was going in that range. And obviously now we would look back on that and say, like, he's probably got the most hype of all wide receivers in this offseason. So I feel pretty good about that one. And I think, like, if you like a guy, don't be afraid to trade your future draft capital to go up and get them, because they're going to be worth more if they end up booming.
Mike?
I know nobody is sick of hearing how good me and Cam friends are, how good of friends Cam and I are. But we're going to talk about it again. We co-manage a team, and we made a really fun one. I wouldn't say it's my best trade on draft day, but the day of the draft, morning of the draft, we shut out. We had Bashal Tootin, and I just said I'm not really a Bashal Tootin guy. We shot out Bashal Tootin for Travis Hunter, just 1 for 1. I think that's just a fun one. We really believe in Travis Hunter, and just that he's like an elite athlete. And if they do use him at wide receiver, he could take over the room. And Bashal Tootin, we look at as more of like kind of that, he's hot right now, kind of dynasty running back, like, but we don't really think this guy's like Devon Achane or, one of these running back studs. So we're kind of taking that shot on potentially a position that's going to last longer in Travis Hunter, and then also just kind of on the upside. Now, this was also before all this positive Bashal Tootin news came out, so there's a little bit of context there. But that was just a really fun one, and it was the morning of the draft. It hadn't started yet, so it kind of got everybody's juices flowing for trades and stuff. So that was a fun one.
Yeah. Lou?
Yeah, so there was this one year where I was picking 102, and someone really wanted to move up from 104 to that spot. And they gave me the 111 to move from 104 to 102. At 102, they took Darius Juice. At 104, I took Nick Chubb. And with the 111 I got back, I took Lamar Jackson. So that was a very, very fun trade for me. Yeah. Nothing's going to top that for me ever, probably.
Yeah, we normally ask like, what's the best trade you've ever made in the interview, and I think that's Lou's answer is that trade, getting Lamar Jackson and Chubb in the rookie draft in the same year. That'll work. Okay,
Yeah, that'll play.
yeah. Kevin at clearly not Kevin. B Scott at social. How would you approach a best ball dynasty league compared to a lineup dynasty? Any differences or keeping the same method? So does anyone play best ball dynasty? Because I do not. Perfect. Oh, all of you do. Okay. We'll start with Cam this time.
Yeah. So best ball dynasty for me, I'm trying to draft as many of these like boom upside guys as I possibly can. So like I'm giving more value to JMO in years past. I'm looking for him. De'Ami Brown is a guy that like typically I don't want on any of my rosters, but like I want De'Ami Brown in best ball just because you could get that one catch for 50 yards and a touchdown, and suddenly he's playing in my lineup. I also don't really care too much about having like, if it's super flex league, I don't want too many of these like elite quarterbacks. If I'm in a startup draft and you're having to pay up for a bunch of them, because like at the end of the day, quarterbacks score between like 15 to 20 points on average, and like you just get a few of them. Maybe you're rostering like 4 or 5 quarterbacks and you're making up for not having like super uber elite QBs, and then you can go spend on all the skill positions. So typically in a best ball league, like I'm just trying to like do things a little bit differently. I've really enjoyed grabbing a bunch of tight ends because, as we know, playing Dynasty and playing Redraft, like tight ends, like, they really just circle in and out every single year. If you don't have one of the top 4, like, the next 6 and that top 10 are going to change every single year. So if you just have quite a few tight ends, like you're just kind of rolling the dice and it's best ball. You're just going to get the best possible lineup every week.
Yep. Mike, go ahead.
So it definitely depends on your league. So like I play in some where there's no waiver pickups during the season and no trades during the season. So like all the action is just in the off season. So you really got to make sure your lineup is like ready to go at the very beginning of the season, because you can't make any changes. So in a league like that, you're going to want to make sure you have enough quarterbacks and tight ends to suffer some injuries, because again, you can't pick up the backup out of waivers or anything like that. That's how like your best ball leagues that you might draft on, the various different sites so you can kind of compete in best ball redraft works as well. So you kind of have to keep that in mind for sure. Outside of that, I'm definitely going to kind of chime in or, go along with what Cam said in terms of just going for those upside players, but really only at the end of my roster. So like, whereas in a traditional dynasty, the end of my roster is guys that like, I'm probably never even thinking about starting, but like I'm holding on to them for future years, like your Cyrus Allen, or in the past for me, unfortunately, it was Justin Ross. But like that's a guy I'm not rostering at the end of my roster in Dynasty Best Ball, because that is where you can get the upside guys like your De'Ami Brown, or like, think 3 years ago, Alec Pierce, or players like that really, let's just say it out loud what we're talking about here. We want fast wide receivers that can get down the field and get a 50-yard play. That's kind of what you're looking at.
We'll skip Lou and he'll go first on the next one. Nate, close us out on this one.
I don't really have anything to add other than I do kind of handcuff more aggressively in best ball. Like I'll go after guys who, like, I don't know, if you've got Christian McCaffrey this year, you should probably have Kalen Black. You find a way to get him on your best ball dynasty league. So stuff like that, where I will, in a lot of cases, I don't like to handcuff, but with dynasty best ball, I will more.
Yes. Okay, Lou, I'm going to ask you the toughest question of the night. How do you say the second word in Ladarius's answer that is highlighted in red right now? How do you say that word?
Pecan.
Nate, how do you say it?
Pecan.
Cam, how do you say it?
This is not good. Pecan.
All right, we're 3 for 3 with different answers. Mike, how do you say it?
I will not consistently say the word the same every single time because I don't know how to say it. So sometimes I just throw out whatever, So I guess like pecan. Yeah, I can't even do it right now on the spot. I don't know. I don't know how to say that word.
Yeah. I am a pecan guy, but my question, because I was lazy today, is what is your favorite flavor of ice cream? Ladarius answered butter pecan. Zach Reed said his favorite ice cream flavor is gelato, but his favorite gelato flavor is yes, because of course it is. And Dynast, yeah, right. And Dynastuds is cookie dough, and we'll get to his question in a second. But Lou, what is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Pecan praline.
There we go. Nate, favorite ice cream flavor?
Everything but the from Ben and Jerry's. It's like peanut butter cups, chocolate, vanilla, peanut butter swirl. It's got a core of caramel. I think it has Heath bars and everything but the kitchen sink.
There we go. Cam?
Banana chocolate chip.
Oh, nice. Mike?
We have a local ice cream shop right around the corner in Netsons that sells lots of delicious ice cream. I think this is like a, they get it from somewhere like a Perry's or something, but there's a flavor Let's Dough Buffalo. And, we're up here in upstate New York, so got a rep, and it's also the most delicious flavor.
Okay. Mine is going to be kind of a cop-out. Any kind of like fruit ice cream, like good peach ice cream is like impossible to top for me because like I had Southern roots from my dad and my grandfather and stuff like that. So that is impossible to beat for me. His other question for Dynasty is, why do people think pistachio ice cream is good? Does anyone like pistachio ice cream?
I don't think I've ever had it.
I haven't either. Lou likes it. What do you think about it? Like, Lou, what do you like about it? Because you're in the rarity, I think, here on pistachio ice cream.
I mean, the thing about it is that I'm never going to choose it over something else. Like if somebody says, hey, do you want pistachio ice cream? Yes, I do, because then I'm eating ice cream. If somebody says you can have pistachio ice cream or any other type of ice cream, I'm going to probably choose the any other type of ice cream because I like that more. So that's where I am with it. Like, have I had it? Yes. Is it edible? Absolutely. Is it my favorite? No. It's fine.
It's cream and sugar. It tastes good to some extent. Like, that's exactly. Yeah. And I will take Cam and Mike's silence as they have not or do not like pistachio ice cream.
I'm sure Cam likes it. I'm 100 guarantee Cam likes it.
It does sound like something Cam would like.
Yeah.
I do like pistachio.
Cam likes anything. Cam will.
I've got a short pistachio ice cream story though. When I was a kid, I was in Lou and Mike. You'll know this one, Grease Mall. And I forget what ice cream shop was there at the time, but my mom got ice cream, and I thought it was mint chocolate chip because it was lime green colored, and it was pistachio, and that like ruined it for me for like 5 years. But I've since grown up, and I do appreciate pistachio.
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna cut these next couple kind of 2 and 2. So Nate, I'll start with you, and I'll go to Cam, who's watched more camp video than just probably about anybody. I've asked many times what camp nuggets you take seriously. The answer was none of the positive stuff because it's everywhere. That was my and Rocky's answer. But is that really true? For example, do you really feel the same way about Burden versus Rome or Parker Washington versus the field nowadays? And is that a good thing?
I take very little out of anything that comes out of camp. I remember there was a year in Denver, and this was a long time ago, but we were told that Kyle Orton would be the starter for the entire season, that there was no way Tim Tebow was going to start. In fact, he was going to be a practice squad guy in his rookie season. And I don't know if y'all remember Tim Tebow starting for the Denver Broncos. And it wasn't bad, but just an example of like, we're told this won't happen during the season, or this guy's definitely the week 1 starter. I'll believe it when we get final depth charts ahead of week 1. That's when I start paying attention to what happened in camp outside of injuries. I mean, really outside of that, you have to pay attention to, but coach speak, man, don't buy it most of the time.
Cam, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the answer is it depends. If it's confirming our biases, so like, let's say you're looking at how the team handled free agency and the draft and all the buzz that happens throughout this period, and what
or you
that
like Cyrus Allen.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's sometimes you want to pay attention to it. Puka Nacua, you definitely didn't want to miss out on that one.
Yeah.
So like there's situations where like, okay, think about the scheme, how the player is going to be used, and like if all of these things line up, then like, okay, the camp news is just like put the check mark in the box and say like, yep, this player is going to be XYZ. But if it's something that suddenly develops during camp, and we don't have any news prior to camp about this happening or any indications, then like yeah, I'm probably going to be out on it. I will say that there's this camp news right now that I'm following. The Cleveland Browns put out way too much information on their social medias. Like, I should not be this tuned into the Cleveland Browns. But Jerry Jeudy came out and said that he wants Deshaun Watson to be the starting quarterback. And that's the only piece of positive Deshaun Watson news that I can share with you guys. He threw like 3 interceptions in back-to-back practices. The ESPN affiliated Browns account put out like the QB1 passing stats for the camp so far, and it's just like Shadur Sanders has all of the attempts and completions. So like these are some of these things where we're like, okay, we need to figure out who the starting quarterback is on the Browns. They're gonna have value. I like Concepcion. I like Boston. I like Fandon. I guess I like Jeudy. I don't know. But like this is one of those things where like, okay, let's pay attention to how people are used in camp and then have an understanding of who might start. And like maybe this is the Kyle Orton thing and like it is Watson, or maybe it's Taylor Green and we all get really excited. But it's just something to pay attention to. It definitely fills the lull that happens over the summer. I'm not a baseball guy, so like this time frame is really boring in sports media. And then as soon as like camp gets here, we're like, oh great, there's news every single day. This is fantastic. I'm going to eat it up. But then like always think about things, come back to earth, spend time looking at like the full picture rather than just these like 3 weeks that we get training camp news, and make your decisions then.
Before I ask Mike and Lou the second part of this question, because it's kind of the same question asked differently, but I think it's a good one. Tebow time feels like a fever dream. Like when he won like 8 straight and beat the Dolphins like 13-10, and like he had no business being as good as he was. And I love Tim Tebow. We'll get to Tim Tebow in a different question, but he had no business being. That was a fever dream. Like he went like 9-1 in 10 games or something ridiculous. That, and all in the fourth quarter.
And he won a playoff game.
I know that he shouldn't have won
overtime. Darius Thomas won a playoff game. Let's be real.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah, okay. Yes, fair enough.
Yes. But Mike asked a different way. He said, if you could get transported to an alternate reality for a few months, first off, don't go for a few months. That seems too long. And just skip the offseason hype train. Do you think you'd do better as a dynasty manager?
I do not think so. I think there's too much like injury news that happens during camp that's not like subjective. Like if a dude is out for the season, he's out for the season. You need that stuff. So obviously there's some news that's worth paying attention to in camp, and like injuries are the easy one, but there's also kind of that drumbeat of, okay, you hear this player's doing well, you hear it again the next day, you're hearing it all week, you're hearing it for 3 weeks, and they've lit it up in the preseason. Like you should be paying attention to news that stacks up, that is like you're consistently hearing the same thing, right? So there's definitely news that's worth paying attention to. Although it would be cool to get transported to an alternate reality. I just hope
that
would
does
be
sound
there.
fun.
Yes.
Do you guys think you've been transported? Like you're like going through like some like time warp tunnel? Or do you think people are like you open your eyes and you're like in an alternate reality?
Yes. I would think it's kind of like a sleep, right? You just go to sleep and you wake up back. Like maybe it's like maybe not alternate reality, but it's like the cryo sleep or whatever for a couple months. Like, but Lou, same question. Do you think it'd be better?
If I went from like, I would hope I would notice if I went from like June to September, though. I mean, that's a decent enough jump that I hope I would notice.
Yeah.
I don't think I would, but I would like to do that. Partly because, I mean, I'm always doing stuff. I'm tinkering. I'm evaluating other people's rosters. I'm evaluating my rosters. And I mean, just as a human being, like time is the most valuable thing that we have. No, I don't want to give up any of that. Like, yes, I want football sooner, but no, give it all to me. Give me all the useless training camp videos, all the super slow-low Malachi Corley 2-yard outs. Give them all to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get on through the show sheet, Haywood posted cookies and cream is his favorite ice cream in the comments. And he wanted to drop a listener question. He said, if I was to trade McBride in Dynasty right now, what kind of draft picks and how many should I seek? Dynasty League 300 cap and McBride has 2 years left at $26 a year. So you should ask for the world. Like, that's probably a top 2 asset right now, unless you have like Lamar for $10 or something somehow. But Nate, how much are you asking for that? 3 firsts, right? At least.
Probably. Yeah, probably. 4 firsts. 2 firsts. It depends on the league, right? I don't know.
Getting 3 firsts from one team is hard, by the way. Like, they
Not
don't,
if you're me, because I had 6 of them.
yes, outside
But yeah.
but like
Okay,
a
so
team doesn't have multiple firsts, right? The normal
realistically, I take, so let's say a 27 first, a 28 first. I'd take a couple of 27 seconds also.
Yeah.
I think that would feel okay to me.
Cam.
I'm curious how the salary cap league works, because if we're talking about firsts, like, is it an auction style where like you're like, I just need to know more about how like the
In
money
my
gets spent.
history, and I've only played one salary cap league, you have associated salaries with each pick. So like the 101's worth $30, the 101 like for 4 years, the 102 is $28 and down the line.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's really tough, because it's like you're slowly gonna just like go over your cap limit if you ask for too many firsts. So like this is a very nuanced question. Without that information, 7 firsts. Yeah, I almost feel like he's an untradeable asset. Like, you just can never recoup that value.
Mike, he said he's getting offered 227 firsts. What else should he ask for?
If you can get like an elite tight end like Brock Bowers, or probably even at a higher cost, like Brock Bowers and 2 firsts for McBride at a cheap cost, I'm considering that. I'm considering that for sure.
Lou, same question.
Yeah, it's my question in return is why? Like, why do you want to move off of this? Because this is, to my mind, this is a no, you can't have this. It would take something like what Cam said, like 7 firsts, where, and I know you only have 1. That's a you problem. If you want it, you need to figure that out for yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not your dad.
Yeah.
You're an adult. I'm assuming there. Figure it out.
Yes, he is.
So, but that's where I come down with this. Is like, you cannot pay me enough to take this guy who is absurdly cost controlled and the top of the tight end. Argue however you want to value him versus Brock Bowers is up to you. But to my mind, the top tight end, and you have him ridiculously cheaply for not just this year but next year too. You can't pay me enough to move off of that.
I would love if Lou was just if Haywood was some like 8-year-old kid and he's saying like, I'm not your dad, like go figure it out. God. Okay. Cam, you'll start this one. Give us your spiciest dynasty hot take ahead of 2026.
That we are way too low on the last year's number 2 overall NFL draft pick, Travis Hunter. Like, I just can't imagine where people want to get him off their roster. They don't want him to be a roster clogger. And I'm like, we know that he's going to play on the offensive side of the ball, and when he's out there, he's going to be featured. I'm not really worried about the defensive stuff. Like, they're still going to probably run him out there on 60 to 70% of snaps is my guess. And Parker Washington is on the last year of his deal. That team is in a rough situation with their cap heading into 2027. So, like, I just don't see a world where they're able to keep Parker Washington unless they start moving off and restructuring contracts. It's going to be a lot that they have to do to keep Parker Washington. He's going to have to really ball out this year. And I think Travis Hunter is just like a generational talent because he plays both sides of the ball, but also he's just a special mover, and I want to invest in that. And you're able to get him really cheap. Last I checked, Keep Trade Cut had him as like anywhere from like a back end first to like a 204. Like, and I traded Tootin away to go get him, and like I would still do that trade today. Maybe I'm asking for a little bit more back on the side that's receiving Hunter, but for me it's Travis Hunter. We've just written him off after 1 season, and I just feel like he's generational, and we shouldn't be doing that.
Mike, what's your hot take?
Caleb Williams is the 101 the 101. I'll even go ahead and say that, but I think he's the QB one is my real hot take. And in Superflex, I would even take him 101. I think he's the QB one in Dynasty. I think this is your last chance to get him before he's Pat Mahomes. Like the Bears are going to take off this year. The writing's been on the wall, you guys. Like the writing's been on the wall since Caleb Williams was in college. We've known this whole time. And I just think we have as a dynasty community don't understand how lucky we are to still be able to go out and get Caleb Williams in trades right now. Like this dude is going to have 40 touchdown seasons. It's going to happen. And he runs too. He has all the things you want in a quarterback and the best offensive mind in the league at head coach. And Ben Johnson wants to go out there and prove points and score 50 points on people. Like he's a jerk like that. Like he wants to go out and just crush all your hopes and dreams. And he has the whole squad around him to do it. Rome Odunze was being compared with Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors when he came out. Luther Burden, we're already expecting to explode. Colson Loveland is going third in redraft in tight ends. Tight end 3 in redraft. Like all of this is accumulating. These are all the signs. Go out and get Caleb Williams before it's too late, people.
Well, as a Bears fan, I think we can just go ahead and end the show. I think that was perfect. We don't have to change it. I'm kidding. Lou, what's your hot take?
Yeah, so this is kind of contingent on Baker Mayfield remaining in Tampa Bay. And as we kind of touched on earlier, that's kind of a little up in the air right now, more than it should be. But assuming that happens, Emeka Egbuka will be valued more highly than Justin Jefferson at this time next year. That's my spicy take. And that's kind of, there's a little bit of both sides to that one. Number one, I think Jefferson is going to continue to come down and disappoint a bit. And number two, I really genuinely believe in Egbuka that much. Like I think people are talking about him as like the wide receiver 4-ish, like in that kind of tier after this year.
Yeah. Nate?
Oh, just real quick. I've got Egbuka at wide receiver 11, and I've got Justin Jefferson at wide receiver 7. I expect that to flop by the time we're at the end of this season. So I'm with Lou on that one. My hot take, I think that DeMond Claiborne, when we're done with this season, we're going to look back and be like, man, he was the freaking steal of rookie drafts. A guy who was going in the 4th round of rookie drafts, landed in a situation in Minnesota. Here's where he's at. He's the 3rd running back on the depth chart behind Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. We know what Jordan Mason is. He's a really good spot running back. You don't want him carrying the ball 16 games consistently. Then you've got Xavier Scott and Jordan Mims below DeMond Claiborne. Claiborne will be the number 1 running back on that depth chart by the end of this season for Minnesota.
Before I give mine, I was going to make a Kyler one, but we'll be here for an hour. If Kyler's good again, I am bringing all 4 of you back, and I'm going to sit you there on mute and just have Rocky and I talk about how good Kyler and Jefferson were this year. You just have to sit there and listen to it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I will not.
I shouldn't be on mute for that, man. You know
okay, Mike can root for that too, because that's right. He was Jefferson too. The other 3, you 3 have to sit there and listen.
And when he's not, then what happens?
Then maybe you guys can come back on and we'll sit on mute for a segment and you can talk about how bad Jefferson
I love this. I love this.
That's a bet. We'll do that in like January.
Can we have Andrew on just for fun to mute him too?
We'll do a 12-man show. I don't care. We're gonna break the record for people on the show. My take is I've been kind of formulating this. I really love ETN/HN this year, but he's not my take. We're gonna look up, and Devontae Smith's gonna be a top 12 dynasty wide receiver. And I
can see it too.
Am fully in on he's still only 27. I know he was by himself and wasn't very good. He was a rookie. We have been wanting this version of Devontae Smith for like 2 years now, where AJ and all these other pieces aren't in the way. And now we have it. And I think everything's going to work out. So I think we're going to look up, and Devontae Smith's going to be a top 12 dynasty wide receiver. So probably over Ibuka, but I don't like Ibuka as much as the rest of you. Okay. If you could make any one player a 2026 league winner, who would it be and why? So let me give you kind of the context of this, because I had to ask him to clarify this a little bit. it's basically like you like the story of him like either bouncing back, or you see a big player taking the next step and being the breakout this year, or you have just a ton of shares of him, anything along those lines. So Nate, why don't you start?
Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah, Emeka Egbuka. Okay.
I have so many shares of him. It's ridiculous. 13 dynasty leagues. I think I have like 9 shares of him.
Oh my god.
I went nuts. I learned my lesson, I thought, after Jaden Daniels. I did not. So there we go.
Mike, you're on mute.
There we go. Okay. For me, it's going to be Sean Tucker all day. If I could take any player and make them a dynasty or fantasy football league winner, I would go with Sean Tucker. I am a diehard Syracuse fan. If anybody knows anything about me, I'm a big Donovan McNabb fan of the past. I grew up watching him. My dad took me to games. His dad was an usher at Syracuse games. So we're out here cheering for guys like Sean Tucker, Arande Gadsden. If you're really sick, then you know about Dan Villari and Jackson Meeks. I'm rooting for all of these guys every year. I like to have at least one draft where I like end my draft with like a Kyle McCord or a Jackson Meeks. Any of these Syracuse guys, I love them all. So I've got a lot of Sean Tucker at the end of my dynasty rosters. So that would be a really fun one for me.
Before I go to Lou, does Sean Tucker still tweet like he used to at Syracuse?
Oh, I don't think he does it anymore, but I don't know for sure because I don't really look at Twitter. So if he does, that's awesome. But yes, that's a great little tidbit on Sean for sure.
For those who don't know, go look at Sean Tucker's like college tweets. They were great. He would like post his stat line and say, "I'm like happy with my performance."
Yeah,
it was great. Lou, who is your league winner this year?
Yeah, So this is a little tough, right? Because we're
Lou's
trying to
muted.
predict who's going to be great weeks 15 through 17.
Yeah.
I got no idea. There's going to be There's going to be teams that we think are good that are real bad.
I can hear him.
I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nate, can
We're
you hear
good.
him?
Okay.
Yeah, I can
hopefully
hear everybody.
Still hear
Okay.
me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
Sorry, I can't hear him for
Okay.
some reason. But go ahead, Lou. Sorry,
Mike. Yeah. So it's tough to predict league winners, right? So who do I think is going to ball out more this year? I think it's DJ Moore, man. I just part of it is homerism. Like, I'm a Bills fan through and through. I need this for my Bills. I need them to be able to be good and be okay. But I genuinely believe that there is a legitimate chance that he's getting 140 targets in an offense that is mad. Honestly, the coaches are mad, the quarterback's mad. Like, everybody's just kind of mad there, and they haven't had. He's not the route runner that Stephon Diggs was, but he's by far the best since Diggs. And he might not get to the 160 that Diggs saw, but 140 is right there. And if he's getting 140 targets in that offense, you're looking at a wide receiver 1 season from a guy you can probably get for not nearly enough. And he's there for a few more years. He's not, a spring chicken or anything like that, but he's one of those guys that you're going to be able to get right now for a lot more cheaply than you're going to be able to, probably even in the middle of the season, let alone next off season.
Yeah. We've beat Kyler to death, but that would be my answer. But my backup answer is Travis Etienne. 1,000 yards, double-digit touchdowns. That's my goal and hope. That offense is awesome, and it's behind him. So that'd be great. Okay, last question. What is your favorite piece of sports memorabilia? I'm going to assume that you own. And what is your favorite memory as a sports fan? Mike, you can start this one.
Okay. Well, I kind of already talked about Donovan McNabb. So our buddy Josh runs like kind of a card collection business, and he's really, really like heady with that stuff. He knows all like the best cards all the time. I know that's kind of getting popular again, which is fun. And I teach his daughter piano as well. And for Christmas last year, this little sweetheart got me a Donovan McNabb, Marvin Harrison like combo card with a piece of game worn Marvin Harrison jersey. So Being a big Syracuse fan, both those guys went to Syracuse, and like that's a pretty tough thing to get. These days they don't put the actual player worn jerseys in. It's just like a jersey patch from the factory. So that's really cool to have like the game worn jersey. And then my favorite sports memory is also going to come back to Donovan McNabb. I remember, so as a kid, I had a stretch where there was like 6 straight years I went to every single Syracuse football home game, diehard Syracuse. And growing up, like McNabb was my first like favorite athlete, favorite just kind of like person to look up to that I didn't personally know. And it was so fun watching him. And it was his senior game. They played Miami. The Miami Hurricanes at the time had like Edgerrin James and Ed Reed and some other like fantastic players. One of those really great Miami teams. And McNabb just went off, scored, I think, 4 touchdowns in the first quarter. That Syracuse blew him out 65-13. And they pulled McNabb off of, out of the game in like the third quarter. I'm like this little 8-year-old kid. Like I really don't know anything about anything. I just know I love Donovan McNabb. And McNabb like holds his helmet up to the crowd and everybody's going crazy. And as a kid, I start crying because I know it's his last game as a Syracuse Orange, but like I'm not able to make the connection that he's going to go play in the NFL and I'm going to watch him for another 10 years. And my dad's like, "Why are you crying?" And I'm like, "I'm never going to see Donovan McNabb play again." And that's just like, that is kind of like when you boil it down, like why I love sports, why I love football is like going to those games with my dad and, my connection to the team and to my family and, all those things kind of like coming together. And I always go back to that memory.
Love that. Lou, what's your answers?
Yeah, so I actually don't have any sports memorabilia. We have been traveling full time in an RV for the last 7 years. There's not room for things like sports memorabilia and something like that. So I don't have any. That said, as far as what's my favorite sports memory, I was in high school and I lived in Rochester at the time. So we went to Bills games, that sort of thing. And when I was in high school, there was this one family, super nice, and super duper straight laced, but not in the annoying kind of straight laced way, in that their kids were actually still fun to hang out with because they were just really, really nice people. Right. So we go to the Bills game, they were playing the Jets, and true to nature, there were some really obnoxious Jets fans in the stadium. So we went with these kids and their parents and that sort of thing. And my friend's mom actually plucked the Jets scarf off of a Jets fan and like started passing it back up the stadium, and it got thrown out the back of the stadium. I would have never ever expected this woman to do this. And I don't think she did either. And that was the best part, because like she did it and then just had this look on her face like, what did I do? Like she just left her body for a moment. And it was just one of those perfect live sports moments that you can just never, ever predict or capture again.
Yeah. By the way, Lou left the most interesting fact of the show out. You are in an RV for 7 years. Where are you, like, what state are you in right now? You don't have to give your coordinates. We are outside of
Seattle right now, up in Washington.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you've just been driving around for 7 years? That's kind of cool.
It is and it isn't. Nate and Mike can tell you, about all the things that go wrong all the time, and the fact like I'm here, our internet's kind of, that sort of thing, and that's just part of life on the road.
Yeah. To be fair, your internet has been good than some guests, and you're in an RV, so I wouldn't care about that or worry about that. Cool. So, Nate, what is your answer to the memorabilia and the memory?
So the memorabilia is a 2-part because it just changed on Father's Day. And a huge Red Sox fan. When they won the series in 2004, that was like one of the greatest things I had seen up to that point. And my dad, for Christmas, he had a friend, a woman he worked with, who was a PR rep for the Red Sox for years. She's real close with Curt Schilling. She'd been his personal PR rep. We can talk about that later. But he was able to, when they were on the verge of winning the series against St. Louis, he called her and said, "Hey, are you going to be there?" She says, "Oh, yeah, I'm at all the games." It's like, "I will pay for a baseball if you think you can get some signatures when they win." I have a ball that has a signature of every single member of that 2004 that Red Sox World Series winning team that was signed in the locker room as they were spraying champagne all over the place. Every single one of them. Even I even have Tito's Terry Francona signature on it too. Yeah. But then Jen had to go up it for Father's Day. I found out that one of my relatives played minor league baseball in like the 20s and 30s. She found a gum pack card. It's the only one that exists of him from 1930. I think it's 37. It's a 1937 gum pack card. So like that's kind of like the coolest thing I've ever been given in my life, sports memorabilia or not. Frank Palvote, he was a pitcher and a third baseman, and I played third base. And I didn't even know he existed until like 2 months ago. So and his favorite sports memory, we were at the Rockies play-in game in 2007.
Whoa.
They won that last game of the season, and we ran to King Soopers to buy tickets, and we got tickets, and we were at that game. It was awesome, except that they stopped selling beer in the 7th inning, and it went 13. But probably the coolest thing I've ever seen live. Like, that was incredible. Unbelievable.
Wow. Important question on the card. Did it come with gum? The gum that's like rock because it's from 1930.
No, but it came in a nice protective case. It's really cool. I need to put it down here.
Yeah. One kind of silly, fun answer on the memorabilia is the hat that I won at the expo like 2 weeks ago that like everyone has signed, including Nate. I think Cam's on it. I don't remember if Mike and Lou ever got it at the but it was just a fun little kind of like yearbook thing. I mean, like the bartenders at M Bar had signed it. I mean, it's like a fun little thing that I had. Memorabilia wise, I have a game worn Tim Tebow Gators jersey signed and everything. Cool. My brother's girlfriend in like high school knew Tim Tebow somehow and got him to sign it for like my birthday. It might have been like my 16th birthday or something like that, but it was a crazy jersey. I still have it hung up somewhere. Memory is actually also college football. The first game I really kind of watched all the way through in college football was Texas USC Rose Bowl National Championship. And it is still the greatest game of all time. I don't care what anyone said. Like, it was just, there was no stopping Lendale White. There was no stopping Bush. And like Vince Young just put the entire team on his back and won that game. So that is my favorite memory as a sports fan, is actually both is college football and not NFL. I'm sure there's NFL ones, but I forget them. The NFL memory I actually have the most. It's not my favorite, but I like remember where I was when Cutler got hurt against the Packers in 2011. Like, and Haney had to come in and just like got destroyed. That was like a really bad moment, but I remember that too.
I remember that.
But that is the end of our show sheet. So that's going to be the end of our show. Thank you, Optimus crew, for coming on. We'll do the roundabout. Mike, I'm going to have you double dip and cover for Cam on socials and stuff like that. But Nate, why don't you do your name and your socials one more time?
Hello, friends. I'm Nate Palvote. I'm a trade addict, as we've proven today. You can find me on Blue Sky at natepalvote.optimusfantasy.com. Check us out on optimusfantasy.com just in general. We have a lot of good stuff. I edit most of it right now, but that's ending very soon.
Yes.
Yeah, first off, Frank, thank you so much for having us, man. This has been a great time.
Of course.
Really love talking trades, talking ball with you. I love all the questions from your listeners. This is really cool, man. So great meeting you and great being on today.
Yeah, likewise.
You can find me, Mike, on keys over here at Blue Sky. So, you know, that's kind of a double entendre. I play the keys, I play piano, and then also, you know, I'll be on the keys typing away all these fantasy football takes. So you can find me over there. Definitely go check out our buddy Cam, who had to kind of dip out kind of quickly there. Cam is at White Heat FF, so definitely go check him out. He's posting all the training camp stuff. He's got great analysis, and he'll get in there and chat with you about any of your dynasty questions, any football questions you have.
Go ahead, Lou. Close us out.
Yeah, hi. My name's Lou Brunson. I live in an RV and have been all over the United States. You can find me on Blue Sky at any time, though. at brewpython27.bsky.social. And I love to talk football, and I'm probably going to be a downer to most of your takes, and that's okay, because that's what makes this fun, is that we can disagree about things like Kyler Murray and Justin Jefferson and Caleb Williams and still be okay and still be friends. It's fun.
Yes. Yes. Show bet is on. We'll lock that in. We'll do a Kyler Murray, Justin Jefferson victory lap for whichever side. We'll have everyone back in like January after the season. We'll do this again. But our stuff, if you like what you see on YouTube, patreon.com/JaxPod, you can watch us while we record. We're normally on Patreon. We do lives every 6 months or so to kind of do this. The last one was episode 400. So these guys are in very high territory to be on these live shows. We also have our Discord chat, the Cool Kids Club. And of course, the most important thing is Fantasy Cares. There's a ton of campaigns going on right now. Go to fantasycares.org/campaigns. There's the merch store, Trivia Tuesday nights, Wednesday night hangouts, and Nate, promote Polly's Playoff real quick before we go.
Yes, Polly's Playoff is a Walk for Alzheimer's benefit. We are helping Shane Barrett run that out this season. Any donation is amazing, $1 up to whatever you want to give. Come join. You can pick best ball or managed leagues. You can maybe play with one of us. We're hoping to get to 150 people this year. We're at about 90 right now, so we would love those signups. And come hang out. I might build some cool, fun stuff if you sign up. Who knows? Maybe some Polly's Playoff specifics. Come check it out. OptimusFantasy.com/Polly's-Playoff.
Excellent. And at nearly the 2-hour mark, as Rush Fisher always told us, if you have a trading problem, you're never alone. Good night, everybody.